What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into my YouTube live today, and I hope everyone is having a blast of an evening, of a day, wherever you are watching this, whenever you're watching this, because having a session like this will be forever be in YouTube, right? So you can watch this whenever you want. Well, my name is John, and welcome to another After Walk Live, where we discuss anything and everything from photography to content creation. And today we're gonna be talking about, John, are you out of your mind? Why did I put mind? It's gotta be MIND. My God. Let me just change that. There you go. DJI Action 4 for normal vlogging. Are you crazy? Well, so over the past 1-2 weeks, I've been going around, or rather 1-2 months since I've got the DJI Action 4, which I have over here. I've been collecting all these footages when I'm traveling, when I'm doing my work, and over the last 1 week, I've been collecting and compiling the video that I launched today on YouTube. So if you haven't watched it, well, I guess don't watch it now. Maybe watch it later when the live session is gone, where I review the DJI Action 4. All right, so do like and subscribe. I mean, if let's say you found that video interesting. Now, I'm currently broadcasting here live in Kuala Lumpur. It's 11 p.m. right now, so I'm thinking this live would last me through an hour till midnight. That's the plan, because I'm actually traveling tomorrow. Let's set up some mood a little bit, okay? So let's do this. Good morning, AGS Photo Buffidi. I hope I didn't butcher your name. I use DJI drones for live streaming in San Francisco Bay Area without license. Oh my God. Don't tell us about the license part. I reckon. That's cool. Which drone are you using for live streaming in San Francisco Bay? All right, so I'm a photographer and I specialize in wedding photography, and hence I'm traveling tomorrow. I'll be shooting a wedding over the weekend. Since I've launched the video today, I thought I'll just catch up with people who are willing to listen to this live today. So since I own the DJI Action 4 for a while already, I thought I would just host this live stream to dive in about the action camera. I guess we can start, right? Now, I'm actually broadcasting both on Facebook and also on YouTube. Yeah, hit me up. Let's get started. It's gonna be a short live stream, I would say. I mean, if everything goes in plan, if there's interaction, maybe we can drag on longer. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a 30-minute live stream. The DJI Action 4. Let's get started with the specification of the camera. So this was launched about in August, I reckon. And I got it almost immediately because I wanted an action camera. As I was saying, I was a wedding photographer, so I wanted to make content with this to sort of promote my wedding photography, right? So 4K 120 frames per second at 10-bit 422 D-Log-M. And what that means is basically I can then take the footages from the camera, which is 4K, so that when you watch it on YouTube, it's 4K. 120 frames per second is the maximum frame rate of the camera that I can shoot with, which means if let's say I want to make buttery smooth slow motion at 20 frames per second, it is pretty good. You get really nice, smooth, slow motion with a lot of information. It can stop down to like 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and depending on what timeline you want to be doing in your edits. 10-bit 422 simply means that it has 10-bit depth of color. And D-Log M, basically, it allows us to grade the flat profile of a camera or of the video after. All right, so let me just quickly address some of the chats over here. AGS says that he's using a DJI Maverick Pro. Which version? The Maverick Pro. I have the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and it's a tiny drone. I believe I can do live as well, but let me just read your next comment. How do you use DJI Action to live stream or use the 4K? Wondering how you promotional reason. Okay, so I don't use the camera for live streaming. You can. I think so. What happened is that, like, I think the drone, you can pair it together with your phone with the app where you can then connect and live stream from there. But what I do is I'm creating behind the scene content. I use this and I mount it everywhere and make get those footages and then compile into video as a behind the scene of how I'm shooting a wedding, and therefore use it as promotional material. If I hope that answers your question, AGS Photo Buffet. All right, so let's get back to the specs. So the field of view, the next on this camera, the lens itself is 155 degrees. You would say it is certainly is very wide, right? 180 degrees, 155 degrees is like, you know, almost covering the whole entire field of view of like the plane, right? So aperture f2.8. So this just the field of view. So what happened is that it allows us to shoot in ultra wide, wide and then standard. And most of the footages I've shot in the review was using standard, and that's pretty wide enough already. So unless, of course, oh my god, so did I press a timer? Okay, better off the timer. Otherwise, the intro will play. I hope the intro doesn't play again. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so they have three modes: ultra wide, wide, and then standard. I pretty much use standard most of the time, unless I really want a distortion view. Unless I'm actually on a bike. I'll think if, let's say, I'm on a bicycle or a motor, you know, some action, and I want to see like how my surrounding more impact, I'll use the ultra wide. Otherwise, I'll stick to the standard. So it has a 1/1.3 inch sensor, and what that means is basically it is able to have better low light videos. I'll say better low light videos. We didn't explore a lot of the low light video because essentially I feel like even with the DJI Action 4, yes, you can get a video out of it in low light condition, but still you could tell like if I were to mix footages from a mirrorless camera, it will definitely show that this is done with a proper big camera versus, say, the Action camera. So ISO 100 to 12,800. So that's the ISO. It takes pictures as well in both RAW and JPEG format. I mentioned about slow motion, 120 frames per second, 2.7 at 120 frames per second as well. And that's something what they call the horizon steady. And what it is, in horizon steady, it is interesting. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get one of these Action camera versus, say, a Pocket 3. Because with this, what happened is that I can mount this on top of my camera. And being a wedding photographer, I may be shooting a horizontal picture. And a lot of time what happens is that I will then switch it to portrait mode, and the camera turns together with the camera, my main camera, when I'm shooting. So with horizon steady, what happened is that it will keep that video footages that I'm recording with the Action 4 still on 16:9 horizontal output with the horizon steady. But with a little bit compromise, I cannot be recording in 4K but at 2.7K. I believe the GoPro Hero 12 does the same thing, but if you were to add on I can't remember what they call it, a lens, a mod lens or something, then you can still output 4K. But 2.7K is plenty for me. Rocksteady 3.0, that's their stabilizing branding of the Action camera. And what it is, I've got the DJI Pocket 1, and it has a gimbal, which is a 3-axis gimbal, which is great because you get really smooth footages out of it. But then again, with all this rock steady and inbuilt stabilization in this camera, these are amazing. They create really smooth videos. You just gotta be like, hold it properly, take your time, and then make that footages. And if, let's say, if I were to mount it on my chest, it is smooth and it's pretty good. So 18 meters waterproof, meaning you can go underwater up to 18 meters. Because if you're a PADI certified diver, your open water allows you to go up to 15 meters, right? And beyond that, you got to have an advanced diving license. And if you want to go beyond that, which is, I think the advanced will cover up to about 30 meters, you can then get a cage for it, an underwater cage for it, if you need to, in that sense. Alright, so where am I now? 80 meters. It has 3 microphones that's on the camera. So you have a stereo mic, the front and at the front, left, right, and I believe there's another microphone at the bottom for noise cancelling. So it is good enough of a microphone to use it inbuilt internal mic. But usually, if possible, if I want to do a talking head, I will certainly mic it up with a Rode Wireless Go 2, simply because that's the wireless mic that I have. Or if you got any USB mic that's wireless, you can just plug it in, or wired even. All right. How do you use DJI Action to do live stream or 4K? Hi, Do Not Magic. How are you? All right. So, continuation to the specs. It has a dual touch screen. So you have a front-facing screen and also the back one. I mean, the back one is obvious. All Action camera has a back screen. The front screen is basically a mimic of whatever it was in the back screen. So if you're doing a talking head, vlogging this way, what happens is that you can just frame yourself using the front screen over here, which is great. Interestingly, today, Insta360 launched the brand new Action camera from their brand, Ace Pro. And instead of having a front screen, which they do, and I'm not sure what the front screen is for, I think it's more on text and whatever. It has a backflip of a screen from the back, and well, it's different. Every single manufacturer is doing thing a little bit different from the traditional Action camera since the first GoPro. SD UHS 2 simply means that it supports a what the micro SD card that's over at the battery compartment over here, right? So you can have that. And the battery is 1770 mAh. So basically it is rated for 2.5 hours, the battery life on the Action 4. And I think I'm getting somewhere around about an hour plus when I'm using on the streets, going around shooting all these footages. So yeah, if you're gonna shoot a lot, think about getting the adventure combo, which comes with a total of 3 batteries, so that you can just swap it out. And interestingly, what happened is that if you're gonna plug this to a power delivery charger, I can't remember what's the input. It gets to 80% within like 15 minutes of charge, the camera. So which is good. Okay, where am I? It has Wi-Fi to the phone. It has an app that builds that connects to the Action 4, and what it does is it has a lot of all these auto movie mode. If you're not gonna open it in Final Cut or CapCut or your Premiere Pro, you just let the app does the editing for you, and you can do that. And what happened is that when you get the adventure combo, it also has the selfie stick, and in the app, when you are shooting the selfie stick for a video and you're just gonna like push it out this way, but in the app it erases the selfie stick, so it has that kind of functionality via the app, and it connects via Wi-Fi. All right, so essentially that's the specification of the DJI Action 4 that I have over here. How's the audio? How's the music coming through? I wonder if I get a copyright strike, because when these are epidemic sound music and I've got the rights to actually use it, but I've already whitelisted the Facebook one. I'm not sure whether the whitelisting works. I hope it does. Otherwise, it'll be flagged, because that's like background music that's going on this live over here. Okay. Have you guys watched the video that I posted? All right. So what I'm going to do right now is to sort of like share with you some of the accessories that I have gotten for the camera. You know, with all these, how to say, when you get an action camera, you got to be getting a lot of accessories to, like, you know, mount it everywhere and everywhere. So firstly, I've got the adventure combo. And the adventure combo do come together with the selfie stick, like this, right? That you saw that earlier. And what I really like about, say, the Action 4, and also like the newer action cameras out here, like even the Insta360, we have magnets everywhere. Like this one, the base, it's a simple snap like this, and then it is pretty sturdy, and it's not gonna come out. I think it is very, very sturdy, right? And that's pretty good. And you could just like use it as a selfie stick or not, you know. And the talking head is just as simple as just like that. and you can get videos just like that. It's pretty nifty. So adventure combo, it comes together with the DJI Action selfie stick. It also do come with the cage. This is a very basic cage. Let me just show it to you on this cage over here. All right, so how do I mount this cage? So the opening is here. I've got to make sure that I've got the right orientation. Slid the camera in. Nope. See, I am not getting the right orientation. Yeah, so like that. You slip the camera in, and then you snap it down. Right, and then you have some kind of protection of the cage. Right. Hi, Robin. How's Guching? You just finished chatting with mom. All right. You want get mom to come onto live, perhaps, maybe check out the stream. Anyway, so this is the cage, right? So what it is supposed to be like, protecting the camera. I mean, being an action camera is pretty rugged, right? I think it can take up a little bit of a beating here and there. And you can see this cage is still exposed, the bottom part where, the magnets are still there. You can see it's just snap easily, right? And you get that lock and you get a horizontal video like that. But we are in the era of TikTok and Instagram reels and all these 9x16 videos. coming from many years of like making horizontal videos, right? And suddenly we got to cater for 9x16. It is, I've got to say, it's a chore. But anyway, these cages provide the ability to mount the camera, because what happened on the side where the battery is, it when you put on the cage, also activates the magnet and you can mount. There you go. 9x16 TikTok video with this camera. How about that? Beat that, your Pocket 3. Actually, Pocket 3 does that as well, without needing to like move things much. I think you just rotate the screen even better. Right, so that's the original cage that comes together with the adventure combo. I think I've got my battery pack charging at the back there, simply because I need it charged for tomorrow. So that's the adventure combo. You get this, you get this magnets, you get 2 of these base units, the DJI brands, and that's about it, really, the adventure combo. But immediately I wanted to when it comes to like action camera, I think we need more accessories, because even this cage over here is just not enough for me, because I've went and got myself another cage, this one. Right, so this is the small rig Action 3 cage, but it is still compatible with the Action 4. So if you do not know, the Action 3 is actually very similar with the Action 4. Right, so this cage is made out of I don't know, titanium. No, I don't think so. It's aluminium. It's certainly very steady. A lot more weight to it. A lot more protection to it. And why this cage is certainly because of all these 1/4-inch holes over here that allows me to mount the camera with more options to mount the camera. All right. So instead of, say, having the base open, Now with the small rig cage, it has a 1/4 inch thread over here, which if I were to have a 1/4 inch adapter like this, I could just of course screw it in, and that will work, right? But why would you want to do that when we have magnets, right? So I've got another small rig, this one over here. All right, this is another small rig base, which is magnet arm. Cannot focus. Come on, focus. Focus. Whichever. So, am I? This one, you see. This is the base. So it is again magnet. So what it does is that then you just snap it in, and I believe this was done for Action 2 as well, because I do find this one is not as sturdy as the ones that's for Action 3, but well, it's working pretty good actually. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I've attached a Aka Swiss plate on this magnet, because then my tripod, it is Aka Swiss plate. I'll just leave it there. I could just take it off and put it back on whenever I'm shooting. So yeah. And one of the biggest reasons why the small rig cage, essentially this will be my go-to vlogging camera that complements my A7 IV. And if I were to do a talking head with this camera, I would certainly be using my Rode Wireless Go. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking out the Rode Wireless Go that I have, together with the contraptions and the cables. Being wireless, you still need cables, yeah. Yeah. So it has a cold shoe on the small rig cage. Yeah. And there's a lot of cages out there doing the same thing, like to house the Action 4. But with the small rig one, the cold shoe is actually far apart from the record button here. And if I were to say have a Rode Wireless Go like this plugged in over here, the record button is very well still exposed, and I can access to it so much more easier than say another cage that's for the Action 4. So this works pretty well. And I could then flip out this flap over here that protects the USB-C. I've got it's just a normal USB-C. Plug this in. Alright, plug this in. And do a twist. And I've connected the Rode Wireless Go 2 to the USB-C interface. And that will work. This is the transmitter unit. So what I usually do is then put this one on my chest, where the microphone is. I'll speak and it records good audio. One of the caveat though, and I've been experiencing this a lot with the Rode Wireless Go 2. I'm not sure if the DJI might suffers the same problem, but with the DJI Rode Wireless Go DJI Rode Wireless Go 2, the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphones, when I start recording, right, it skipped the first second. It's like it's initializing. It doesn't know what to do for like 1 second. It skips, tap, and then after that, the audio catches up. And then it syncs together with the video, and then it delivers a good outcome out of it. So I hope if people complain enough to DJI, they will release a firmware to fix the problem eventually, hopefully. But otherwise, you just got to keep that in mind when recording. Turn it on, leave it for at least 1-2 seconds before you actually speak into it. And then you'll get good quality audio out of the Rode Wireless Go 2. And how it sounds like, well, in my video review that I've launched this afternoon, I've got sample audio, so go and check it out later on after this live session. Okay, so Essentially, what happened is that we have a vlogging solution with just like this, right? And a talking head, just plug it in over here. And we have a solution to go around and vlog and talk in front of camera like an influencer. What do you guys think? It's not bad of a contraption in it. It's so small, so tiny, so easy, right? So this is nice. This is actually nice. All right. So let me just move this along. So did I mention that the adventure combo do come with all these bays as well? It comes with 2 of these DJI Action magnet bays that plug in into the camera. We call this a thumb screw, by the way. Right, so take it out. I'm not mansplaining all these gadgets, these things over here. So this is the official one. There are a lot of unofficial ones. Small Rig produced one of these. I have good result with the Small Rig because when I plugged it in, it just is solid, right? It's not gonna go everywhere. Oh, did I also mention with the Small Rig cage, it also has the 9x16 orientation that you can attach, right? So you can do that. Small Rig does a good job. Now I plan to put this eventually to my car dashboard, where when I'm driving, I can do a sort of like a selfie or recording a talking head. Ulanzi U170, that's the model of it, and let's see how it goes. So with Ulanzi, it is not as solid as the original ones, because I think these were all done for the Action 2. So the fitting is not fantastic, I gotta say. It is okay. It works, but you got to be really careful because this is easy to snap out. The red color button to release, that's too easy to snap out. And when I push it in, I've got to like physically make sure that I pressed in so that it gets a solid hook onto the cage. All right, so then it will work pretty all right. Okay, sometimes it just works pretty good, and sometimes I think it's a hit and miss. It feels like it's the same contraption. These Ulanzi U170 and then OA 11, and I didn't have very good result with this OA 11 because when I step it in, it doesn't fit. I've got to like really press the red buttons over here, the handle, so that it snap into the cage. Then it is solid. Otherwise, it is not very secure. So these are cheaper than say the Small Rig ones, though, I gotta say. That Small Rig base over here, this particular one, it is now of course screwed onto a Akasui's plate. I'm not going to show you how it is, but essentially underneath of the base is also a 1/4 inch screw like this, so you can do that if let's say you got your tripod, it's just using a 1/4 inch screw without a plate. Or it also have a butterfly tip to convert into a GoPro mount on the side, on the bottom. All right, so Robin commented, it says that Action 2 has clamps at the side for secure grip. So I don't know how the Action 2 works, but this one does work, but you got to be really careful because it's not as secure as I wish it would be. Maybe they are coming up with a Action 4 compatible one, you know, so maybe. It looks like the clamp of the Ulanzi one isn't that strong. Yeah, it doesn't promote confidence with it. Um, I I guess when I use it, I gotta be really careful because when I mount it, I gotta make sure that I really clamp it and then wiggle it so that I know that it is secure before I move on and start shooting. And one of my favorite gadgets, or rather the accessory that I purchased for the Action 4 is this. This is a lanyard essentially, right? And this is magnet. Magnet. And how this work, this is fantastic because this is separated, so it has a base over here which is a magnet. Again, the magnet base over here for the base of the camera, you attach it, right? And what is interesting, without the lanyard even, with this contraption itself, it is a base. You could like stand it, make it stand, right? And it becomes a tripod base like that. Or a rather, well, it's not a tripod, it's basically a square. It has a base plate that supports the camera, and then you can make it stand, which is great. And to top that off, it is magnets over here, so if you got anything metal, you could like just stick on it. If it's your car, you can stick on it and it's going to be strong. And these are really, really strong magnets, right? Because I'm not sure whether you can hear it, but yeah, it is that loud. All right, that snap, it is really confident. And of course, then you got the lanyard, and this lanyard, you just put it underneath your shirt, and what it does, it essentially north-south will attach and will just stay here, and it does my front point of view, doing my BTS when I'm photo walking, when I'm doing when I'm shooting weddings, so that then I can get all this behind the scene of how the photos are made. Right? I think that's my selling point, or rather that's my main reason why I'm getting all these action cameras. So hopefully I'll get to make all those content. All right. So this is Ulanzi as well. What's the model of this thing? It is the Ulanzi GP16. Right. So this particular contraption over here, magnet everywhere. This is Ulanzi 16. I've got to say though, once you put this on, it is relatively now a little bit chunkier than say how I envision a DJI Action 4. Right? It is certainly a lot chunkier. You can't compare it with the Pocket 3 for sure, because the Pocket 3 will be so small compared to this. Alright, so yeah. And these are all the accessories that I've got for the Action 4. Magnets are everywhere now. It's sticking everywhere. Okay, so let me just maybe dive into some of the settings that I use, and I think it is important. Some of the hacks, or rather some of the decision I make to set up the Action 4. Let me just move the microphones away because I'm not going to be using that. Okay. Okay, one thing I cannot live without from, say, a action camera. You click on record. When it's off, it just turns on and start recording straight away. Alright. And when I stop recording, it automatically turns off. Okay, so the on button is actually on the side here. Okay, let me just push my mic in a little bit so that I can get closer to the keyboards here. So that's where the camera angle is. So let's turn it on. Now I've already set up this camera. When you turn on, it goes back to the last presets that you are on. So If I were to click one time, it goes C1, C2, C3, C4, and all these I have already programmed. Right? So C1, what it is I program it to be shooting 4K 4:3. Okay. Now I'm shooting everything with the Action camera 4:3 simply because I want to maximize the sensor size, that essentially I could use the whole entire video and decide where I want to crop. All right. And C1 is 60 frames per second because I want to be shooting everything 60 frames per second. If I want to do a 2x slow-mo, I always have the ability to. And this is my go-to, say 60 if I'm shooting outdoor. All right. And I'll always be on 60. Because C2 that I program is essentially the same thing, 4:3 4K, but it is 30 frames per second. And why you want to do something like this is because if you were to go to a place where it is a little bit darker, then the camera can go down lower in terms of the shutter speed, because what happened is when you are shooting 60 frames per second, the most minimum shutter speed that the camera will go down is 1/60, and that also if let's say they allow it, right? Let me just refresh my iPad over here because it's frozen. Okay, let me just turn back on. There you go. And you are back. Okay, so what it is, when then you go down to like in C2 that I've done, and I'm shooting 30 frames per second, essentially allowing the camera to go down to 1/30, or certainly allowing it more light to go into the video so that you get better result from it. All right, so that's C2. So that's the difference between C1 and C2. I use C1 when I'm outside, when there's plenty of light, when I don't care if the camera is shooting like pretty high. It's the Action camera after all. I'm not going for a cinematic look or motion blur. I could, if I get a ND filter in front of the lens, but that again is gonna add on a lot of complexity, and the videos I'm shooting, I don't think I want to add on those complexity because it's already very, very complex to me already. All right. As a standard, what I do is I'm shooting on auto exposure because I'm lazy to think. On auto white balance, I'm shooting D-Log M because I like to color grade my footages, and I'm shooting from using the standard profile of the field of view. All right, for all. All right, C3 is when I shoot 4K 120. All right, 4K 120, it only allows me to shoot at 16:9 on the Action 4. I cannot do 4:3, so that's the limitation of the camera, which is okay because the fact that I'm getting 120 frames per second for 4K, I'm happy. All right, and to top that off, when you're using this mode, what happens is that it does record the audio as well, which is important, right? Because if you go to the slow motion mode on this camera, what happens is that it just records the video without the audio. Give me a sec. I just pressed the cough button. All right, so C3 is for me to be shooting 120 frames per second, and then if you ask me, John, why don't you just leave it at 120 frames per second all the time since it records audio, it records video? Number one, the file size is going to be huge, so if you're going to be shooting a lot, then it just add up quickly. you have a lot of information in your video, and at the end of the day, you don't use it anyway, so it's a waste. And to top that off, at 120 frames per second, it means that your shutter speed is going to be 1 over 120 at the minimum. And if you're shooting indoors, what happens is that it will then boost up the ISO, trying to compensate with the shutter speed and all. And it's not going to be good. So that's why you don't shoot at 120 frames per second all the time, unless you want to have footages to slow down to 25%, 4 times. Right? Because 120 frames, if you split into a 30 frames timeline, you get 4 times of amount of data in it, so you have very buttery smooth slow motion 4 times. All right, at C4, what I do is then, this is like for me, if I want to capture, say, a wedding photography behind the scene, and especially, say, if I've okay, how do I do this? So say, so I've got this contraption over here. It then exposes this part where I can mount it to the hot shoe of my Sony Alpha 7 IV. And this will be then, of course, mounted on the hot shoe then. All right, at 2.7K 16:9 at 30 frames per second. And what is different between this and the rest, besides the 4K and 2.7K, is I enable horizon steady on this C4. And what it does is when I'm recording, so when I'm shooting, if you were with me just now earlier, I've explained this. When I'm shooting, say the camera is horizontal, right? And I'll still get a 16:9 video. All right, let me just if the camera is here, down below here, right, mounted on a hot shoe, when it's horizontal, I still get a 16:9 video. What happens if I shoot a portrait of a photo, which we do that a lot in photography? We turn the camera, and then this camera turns together, and suddenly the camera becomes 9:16. And if I want to be making a YouTube video, I don't want a 9:16. But with horizon steady, what it is, it will preserve a horizontal video 16:9, disregard of me turning the orientation of my Sony A7 IV, right? And it still gives me a 16:9 video, which is fundamentally why I actually got the Action 4. Right, so that 2.7K video allows me to do that with horizon steady. I hope I make sense. Yeah, I'm going as slow as I could in terms of like trying to explain. Robin says that he hasn't programmed anything on his Pocket 3. Well, take your time. It took me quite a while to like accustom to a camera like this, because I never had an action camera before, and this is my first, right? And C2, C3, C4, C5. No, there's no C5 anymore. I don't need C5. Next one is photo. This is a little bit repetitive in terms of like saying go into the interface of a DJI Action 4, because if you release the button quick thing over quick, I don't know, QS stands for what, quick something. When we select a different mode, if you release it, and then it goes back to C1, and then you go to repeat again. If you have a long list of custom presets, then I think you will have a lot of things to cycle through. I believe, how many presets can we put on? Let me see. QS over here. Until C4, I think. Yeah, only until C4 anyway. Oh no, you can go C5 and C6, C7, C8. I'm not sure how many. I'm not gonna change the setting for this live. I'm not gonna do that. All right. And essentially, then I'll bring it down to slow mo, time lapse, and also hyperlapse, which is I think the hyperlapse and the time lapse are very self-explanatory in the sense of like the setting is actually pretty good, easy. So if say you are in time lapse, you want to take sunset, make sure it's in 4K, and then you just start and go, easy, which is good. I don't want to think about how many frames, how many seconds. The camera will tell you. Like for instance, it says that if I were to shoot 60 minutes of that sunset, I'll get 40 seconds of footages, right? So with 60 minutes, you just turn it on, you record the sunset. At 60 minutes, it will stop operating, it will stop the camera. You've got 40 seconds worth of sunset footage. And with clouds, it says 10 minutes for 10 seconds. So if you use this preset, what happens is that you will record for 10 minutes and you get 10 seconds of footages. But if you don't want and you want to be a little bit smart ass about things and control it yourself, you can go to custom, you swipe out, and then you can do all your... I forgot to turn this on. There you go. Now let me just repeat that. So in time lapse, so you have sunset over here. What happens is that when you have sunset, it will then have the 60 minute of footage, and you get 40 seconds of footage at the end of the day using time lapse. And if you just use all this preset over here, I think you're pretty much set. Clouds, 10 minutes of actually recording, you get 10 seconds worth of footages at the end of the day. Right? Custom, of course, then you can just change it up however you want. All right. So essentially, that's the those are the settings that I have with the DJI Action 4. I do turn on the voice control, but I find it a little bit not very reliable. Maybe because of our Manglish here in Malaysia. My English is not so good. So let's say, and almost all the time I can't remember. I can't remember what's the command. So let's go into settings. Under voice control, English, voice command, you got start recording, stop recording, take photo, and shut down. All right. Let's try this. Start recording. It works. Oh, I'm actually shooting a time lapse now. All right. Stop recording. It works. No, it doesn't. It's still recording. Okay, hold on. Let me quit. Maybe not in. Yeah, let's go to C1. Okay, start recording. No, it doesn't work. Start recording. And then it starts. One thing great about something like this is that it has a very audible beep that tells you it actually records. Stop recording. No. Stop recording. And then it turns off. It's a hit and miss. Take photo. Oh, it did. I thought I pronounced it wrong. Start recording. All right. Stop recording. Stop recording. Did I say stop recording okay? Because it seems to not wanting to recognize my stop recording. And okay, last one. Shut down. Yeah, pretty good. Nah, it's a hit and miss, 70%. So I'm not sure when I'll use it, but I'll keep that in mind. It is there, and I can use it if I want to. How about that? I just wanted to show you something, right? I've got the video over here in the final cut timeline. Let me just create a brand new project. All right, 4K. If you want a 16:9, obviously you just do a 16:9 over here. All right. I told you guys that I've been shooting like 4:3. So say here, this video, this is a 4:3, and I'm with drag it to the timeline. And what I have then is the ability to then fit this footage into a 16:9 ratio, and then move it up and down and see where I want to put this particular, how things gonna be. Like if I want to showcase a lot more of the top, I could. All right, so that's the flexibility of say recording it, 4:3. And if I were to say come up with a new project, and if I were to do a TikTok, for instance, vertical, a 1080 by an 1920. All right, that's a vertical. So same shot, bring it down to the timeline, and then when I do a fit, now that I have got a taller version of of the video from the sensor, that I can move left, right. You just have more room when you shoot 4:3. And I do not know, for the life of me, when it comes to the Sony A7 IV, I don't do that. Maybe I should try to just use 4:3, and maybe the sensor, I get more from the sensor. Or do I? Well, Robin would know, I think. All right, so I've got, let me just move to say, well, this clip is okay. Let me just select, say, some of these footages over here. I mean, this is random footages. I think this particular shot didn't even made it to the final cut of the review that I was doing. Right, so maybe this is where it is. Remember, I said I was shooting like 16:9. Let me just 60 frames per second. Let me just when I'm shooting 60 frames per second, and this is essentially a 30 frames timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify retime slow, because 60 divided by 2, 50% is 30 frames per second. So then you can see the slow motion of it. All right, so that's how you slow a clip down. And then when it comes to LUTs, because I'm shooting D-Log M, so I've got this M LUT. So basically this plugin allows me to select some of my collection of LUTs that I have, and this utility lock to Rec 709 is pretty cool, because I could just go in and just go into D-Log. I don't have the latest one. I'll just use a D-Log 3, and then it will just grade it all right. The color is a little bit too saturated. What I'm going to do is I'm just gonna perhaps minus the intensity a little. I'm not sure why it is moving. Yeah, but I could do that. Right? So you get itself the actual how it looks like at Rec 709. And to top that off, if say I want to have a different color grade to that particular clip, so I have another one, and then I'll just select one of my presets, say some lens distortions, right? Okay, you get a different look of the footage totally. So it's a little bit more vintage. Yeah. And to just take this off, I've also used something what they call a dehancer. Right. So this plugin, this one does take up a lot more memory when you actually color grade. It gives you a Rec 709 profile, because I've already corrected the D-Log M to Rec 709. So I'm just going to use Rec 709. And I have all these film simulation that makes the whole entire look of a video. You may not see this one that well. Let me just say do I have, all right, let me just go to previous projects because remember this, Robin? Our photo walk. Let's feature Robin a bit. Yeah. Robin behind the scene, how he was actually recording some photo walk. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste the effect, MLUT, and also the Enhancer Pro. I actually don't need to slow down the clip, so let's not do that. Let's just go to reset speed, normal 100%. Okay, so with this, what I'm going to do then, I'm going to select okay, one of it that I like a lot is the Porta 400. Oh, I'm using the Porta 400 already. How about others? Well, you get the picture. So when you have nice color grading, flat, when you have a nice exposed flat profile of a video, you can do wonders with it. So imagine when we were shooting, say what, 4:3. So if I just say fit, it becomes a retro video of Robin shooting the brakeman. There you go. Yeah, so that's how I can be grading a footage done with the Action 4 or any other cameras. All right. Yep. 4:3 ratio is the way to go. I used to that since day one. So he's a smart one. And then it feels like the footages is like a year ago. It's only in August. I remember I got the Action 4 pretty early on then, and I was playing with it, and I wasn't ready to make a video, a review out of it because I don't know the camera. And then of course with all this procrastination, the Pocket 3 came. Oh no, the Pocket 3 came, and well, the the GoPro 12 came, and then today the announcement of the Insta360 Ace Pro. So yeah, I kind of like that, the fact that the DJI version is just Action 4. I wonder if they're gonna give a Action 5 Pro next time, because you got Ace Pro, you got GoPro. It's just a thought. All right. My iPad is frozen again. Damn it. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, unfrozen the iPad. Okay, there you go. So yeah, I said it earlier. Well, I thought that the stream is gonna last me 30 minutes, but it went on a little bit longer because I've got so many things to talk about in terms of, like, you know, sharing how to color grade, the specification of this. I guess that's all from me. If you haven't watched the review video that I've done, go to my YouTube channel, and then it's gonna be the first video there. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight, Robin. Stay safe in Kuching. Have fun there. Eat all the kolumi you want. Hopefully this video inspire you, all of us, to go out and make more photos and videos with the Action 4. Not like the world needs more photos and videos, but hey, it's fun. Any last thoughts? Alright then. Have fun in Langkawi. Yep, that's where I'm going. See you guys. Thank you for listening in. Oh, if you're catching this live broadcast later, kudos to you. Hopefully this is a nugget in the live stream or in my channel that is useful for you guys. Being said that, ciao ciao, good night.